I'm watching my wife get married, right now, through a hotel window across the street. She's in ivory white, he's in a gray suit, the same one he wore to my 40th birthday party. And I've been dead for exactly 48 hours. Let me back up, because I know how this sounds. Crazy, paranoid, like some sick revenge fantasy. But I'm recording this from a hotel room that smells like cigarettes and regret, and my hands won't stop shaking, and I need to tell someone what I've done, what I've seen. My name, it doesn't matter anymore. What matters is that 3 days ago, I had everything. A fortune I built from nothing. A wife I'd loved since we were broke college kids sharing ramen. A business partner who was more brother than friend. 2 kids who still believed I hung the moon. And I threw it all away because I couldn't ignore the feeling in my gut anymore. See, money changes people. I know that sounds like something rich people say to justify their paranoia, but it's true. I watched it happen to her slowly, over years. The way Sarah, I'll call her Sarah, even though that's not her real name, started looking at me like I was a bank account instead of a person. The way her kisses became transactions. The way she'd ask about my will during commercial breaks, casual as asking about dinner plans. But it was the phone call I overheard 6 weeks ago that broke something in me. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. I came home early from a business trip. Flight got canceled. Universe trying to tell me something maybe. Found her in our bedroom. Door cracked open. Voice low and intimate in a way she hadn't spoken to me in years. I heard her laugh. God, that laugh. The one I'd fallen in love with 15 years ago. The one I hadn't heard directed at me in I don't even know how long. And then I heard her say, "Not much longer now. Just be patient." I stood in our hallway in a house I'd bought her with paintings she'd chosen on floors I'd refinanced twice to afford. And I knew. So I did something unforgivable. Maybe the worst thing I've ever done. And I've done some questionable things to build my fortune. I staged my own death. I hired people, the kind of people you find when you have money and no conscience left. Made it look like a car accident. My Porsche, the one she joked was my midlife crisis, wrapped around a tree on Highway 9. Fire, dental records, the whole horrifying production. I don't know what I thought. That she'd break down? That I'd see real grief and realize I was wrong about everything. That I could come back, confess, and we'd laugh about my paranoia in therapy for years. I watched from a distance when the police came to our door, through a parked car down the street, like some kind of stalker. I watched her face when they told her I was gone. She didn't scream, didn't collapse. Her hand went to her mouth. That part looked real enough. But her eyes went to her phone immediately. Before the officers had even finished speaking, she was already texting someone. I told myself maybe I was seeing things, that shock makes people do weird things, that I was the crazy one for doing this horrible test. But then I followed her for the next 2 days. I watched her cry at my office, collecting life insurance paperwork. I watched her accept casseroles from neighbors, whispering, "I don't know how I'll go on," while scrolling through her phone. I watched her have dinner with Marcus, my best friend, my business partner, the man who'd helped me build everything. And I watched them hold hands across the table at a restaurant I'd introduced them at 5 years ago. 48 hours, that's all she gave me. Because right now, while my funeral is supposedly being planned, while my kids are with her sister processing their grief, she's walking down an aisle toward Marcus. The wedding was already planned, the venue already booked, the dress already tailored. This wasn't spontaneous. This wasn't grief making someone irrational. This was always the plan. I was just taking too long to die. And you want to know the worst part? The part that makes me want to put my fist through this hotel window? She looks happy, genuinely, radiantly happy in a way I haven't seen since before the money, since back when we were nobody, when she loved me for me. I keep asking myself, did the fortune kill us or just reveal who she'd always been? I've been sitting here for 3 hours now, watching. The ceremony's almost over. Marcus is lifting her veil, my wife's veil. Jesus Christ, my wife. And I have a choice to make. I can walk across that street and destroy whatever this is, become the ghost at the feast, the dead man who ruins everything. Or I can stay dead. Let them have this. Take my money, my kids, my life. Start over as nobody, nothing, nowhere. But there's something else. Something I haven't told you yet. Something I discovered yesterday that changes everything. That makes this so much worse than just betrayal. I'm sorry. I need a minute. Someone's knocking on the door. Nobody knows I'm here. Nobody should know I'm alive. Unless... Sound of door opening. Voice is unclear. Oh God. Oh my God. It's not who I thought it was. It's so much worse. Everything I thought I knew about what happened, about why, I was wrong. I was so focused on Sarah and Marcus that I didn't see. I have to go. I have to. If you're watching this, if I don't upload another video, just know, sometimes the person who betrays you isn't the one standing at the altar. Sometimes it's the one you never suspected at all. And sometimes faking your death doesn't reveal the truth. It just reveals how many people were waiting for you to disappear. The whiskey in this hotel room tastes like rust and failure. I've been nursing the same glass for 3 hours now, watching condensation pool on the cheap nightstand, while across the street, my wife becomes someone else's future. The window is grimy, streaked with years of city rain, but I can see everything. The white tent pavilion, the string lights that probably cost more than this entire hotel, the guests in their funeral black suits. Ironic, considering they just attended my memorial service this morning. I should clarify that. They didn't attend my funeral. There was no body to bury, obviously, since I'm sitting here breathing, existing, watching. But there was a memorial. Sarah insisted on it. For closure, she told my mother on the phone yesterday, her voice breaking at exactly the right moments. I listened to that call from a burner phone I'd tapped into our home line. Technology is a beautiful thing when you have money and no moral boundaries left. Marcus is standing at the altar now, my business partner, the man I trusted with every secret, every vulnerability, every middle-of-the-night panic about whether I was good enough, smart enough, worthy enough. He's smiling, that easy, confident smile that used to make me feel safe. We built an empire together, started in my garage with nothing but ambition and his coding genius. 15 years of partnership, brotherhood, or what I thought was brotherhood. The minister, some generic officiant they probably found online, is saying something about love being patient, love being kind. I want to laugh. I want to scream. Instead, I take another sip of rust-flavored whiskey and press my forehead against the cold glass. Sarah's veil catches the sunset light. Ivory lace, delicate as a lie. I remember when she used to wear my old college sweatshirts to bed, back when we were nobody. Back when loving me didn't require a cost-benefit analysis. She'd curl into my chest in our studio apartment, and we'd talk about the future like it was this beautiful, uncomplicated thing we were building together. Just us against the world. When did that stop? When did I become the enemy? I've replayed our 15 years together obsessively these past 48 hours, looking for the moment it broke. Was it the first million? The first 10 million? When we moved into the house with more bathrooms than we had guests to use them? When I bought her the Mercedes and she asked why I hadn't gotten the upgraded model? Or was it always broken and I was just too in love to see the cracks? The ceremony is reaching its climax. Marcus is reaching for her hand. My wife's hand. The same hand that used to trace patterns on my chest while I fell asleep. The same hand that held our daughter when she was born, Emma, with her mother's eyes and my stubborn chin. The same hand that signed our marriage license 15 years ago in a courthouse ceremony because we couldn't afford anything else. I watch him slide the ring onto her finger. White gold, diamonds, probably cost more than our first car. And she's smiling. God, she's smiling. Let me tell you about the 6 weeks that killed me before I died. It started small, the kind of small that normal people dismiss as paranoia. Sarah's phone, always face down now, always. On the kitchen counter, the nightstand, the restaurant table. Like the scream itself was evidence. I'd never been the jealous type, never checked her messages, never demanded passwords. We'd built our relationship on trust because we had nothing else. But trust is a luxury, I learned. Something you can afford when you're poor and the stakes are low. The phone call I overheard wasn't even the first sign. Looking back, there were breadcrumbs leading to that moment for months, maybe years. The way she'd started going to the gym at odd hours, 5 in the morning, 10 at night. My trainer has limited availability, she'd explain, but I'd see her makeup, fresh and deliberate as she headed out the door. The business trips that multiplied, the sudden interest in our financial portfolio, the casual questions about my health, my stress levels, whether I'd updated my will recently. That last one should have been a siren. But I told myself she was being practical. We had kids, we had assets. Of course she was thinking about the future. That's what good wives do, right? They plan, they prepare, they make sure everyone's protected if something happens. I didn't realize I was the something in that scenario. The day I came home early, the day I heard her voice through our bedroom door, I'd been in Tokyo closing a deal. 15-hour flight home, exhausted, jet-lagged, won nothing but my own bed and my wife's familiar warmth. But the airline mechanical issue, a bolt loose in the engine or some other mechanical failure, and suddenly I was rerouted home 12 hours ahead of schedule. I didn't call ahead. Why would I? It was my house, my life. I used my key quietly, habit from years of coming home late, not wanting to wake the kids. The house was too quiet. Emma and Jack were at school. Sarah's car was in the driveway, but the downstairs was empty. I heard her voice drifting from upstairs. Laughter. That genuine, unguarded laughter I'd been chasing for years, trying to recreate with expensive dinners and surprise trips and jewelry that sparkled with apology. She was giving that laugh to someone else, for free. I stood in the hallway outside our bedroom, my suitcase still in my hand like an idiot, and listened. The door was cracked open maybe 3 inches, enough to hear everything, enough to destroy me. "He's in Tokyo until Thursday," she said. "We have time. We always have time now. He's never here anymore." A pause. I know you're tired of waiting. Not much longer now. Just be patient." The way she said patient, like she was soothing a child, like she was promising something definite, something inevitable, something final. I backed away slowly, set my suitcase down silently, walked back out my own front door, and sat in my car for 2 hours, trying to breathe, trying to understand, trying to logic my way out of what I'd heard. Maybe it was about a surprise party, a business venture, a gift. But my gut knew. My gut had probably known for months, and I'd been too proud, too trusting, too fucking stupid to listen. That's when I started planning my death. Not to test her. At least that's what I told myself. To protect myself. to protect my kids, to see the truth before it destroyed us all. Turns out, the truth destroys you anyway, just slower, more thoroughly. Hiring someone to fake your death is easier than you think. Money buys silence. Money buys competence. Money buys plausible deniability. I found Victor through channels I'd rather not detail. Let's just say when you operate in high-level business, you encounter people who specialize in problems. Victor specialized in making people disappear, usually permanently, but he was willing to adapt for the right price. We met in a parking garage at 2 in the morning. Very noir, very ridiculous, very necessary. He was younger than I expected, maybe 35, with the kind of forgettable face that's probably an asset in his profession. I handed him $500,000 in cryptocurrency. He handed me a plan. The car accident would happen on Highway 9, a notoriously dangerous stretch known for fatal crashes. My Porsche would go off the road at a curve, catch fire. The fire was essential. It would explain why the body was difficult to identify. Dental records would be falsified. Victor had a contact in the medical examiner's office. Everyone has a price, apparently. Even the people who count the dead. You'll have maybe 72 hours, Victor told me. After that, inconsistencies start appearing. Insurance investigators dig deeper. You'll need to make your point and disappear, or come back from the dead and face fraud charges. 72 hours to learn the truth about my entire life. It seemed like plenty of time. It wasn't. The night of the accident, I drove my Porsche to the location myself. Victor followed in a van. I felt surreal, apocalyptic, like I was attending my own execution. I parked at the designated spot, walked away, and watched Victor work. He was efficient, methodical. The crash looked real, because technically it was real, just with a pre-positioned body. A John Doe from the morgue, Victor explained. Someone with no family, no one to claim him. He gets a name, Victor said. You get answers. Everyone wins. I wanted to vomit. I wanted to call it off. I wanted to drive home and pretend I'd never doubted her. Instead, I watched my car burn. Watched the flames consume the Porsche, the leather seats, the stupid midlife crisis symbol of success I'd bought to prove something to myself. The fire was beautiful, cleansing. The death of one life, the birth of another. Or so I thought. The police called Sarah at 3:27 in the morning. I know because I was parked down the street, watching our house through binoculars like a criminal. Victor had given me a burner phone with a police scanner app. I heard the dispatch: fatal accident, single vehicle, male victim, identification pending. Our bedroom light clicked on 4 minutes later. Sarah appeared at the window, phone pressed to her ear. Even from a distance, I could see her body language, hand over mouth, the performance of shock. But her shoulders didn't shake. Her body didn't collapse against the window frame. She stood there, very still, for exactly 45 seconds. Then she made a call. At 3:30 in the morning, while the police were presumably still giving her details about her husband's death, she called someone. The conversation lasted 6 minutes. When she hung up, she sat on the edge of our bed, our marriage bed, and stared at her phone. She didn't cry. Not once. Not that I could see. I'd wanted proof. I'd gotten it. But somehow I'd still hoped I was wrong. Hoped she'd break down, that I'd see real grief and realize this had all been a terrible mistake born of paranoia and midlife crisis and too much time apart. Instead, I got certainty. And certainty, I learned, is its own kind of death. The death of hope. The death of who you thought you were. The death of the story you told yourself about your life. Sarah went back to sleep 20 minutes later. The light clicked off, the house went dark, and I sat in my rental car, legally dead, emotionally destroyed, wondering what the hell I'd done. If you could see the truth about how someone really felt about you, would you want to know, even if it destroyed everything? Morning came like an accusation. I hadn't slept. Couldn't. I checked into this hotel, the Riverside Inn, a 2-star establishment that doesn't ask questions, at dawn, looking like hell, paying cash. The clerk barely glanced at my fake ID. Victor's work. Everything was Victor's work now. My entire existence outsourced to a professional ghost maker. I showered but didn't feel clean. Looked at myself in the mirror and saw a stranger. Legally dead, morally compromised, emotionally eviscerated. Welcome to day one of your new life, I told my reflection. How does it feel to be nobody? The local news covered my death by 7 a.m. Prominent business owner dies in fiery crash. They used my official headshot, the one where I'm smiling in a suit, looking successful and whole and like someone whose wife loves him. The anchor's voice was appropriately somber. He leaves behind a wife and 2 young children. Leaves behind. Past tense. I was history now. I'd set up surveillance before I died. Cameras disguised as everyday objects, positioned throughout our house. Another expensive Victor suggestion. If you're gonna do this, he'd said, do it right. Half measures just leave you with half-truths. So I watched. I watched Sarah wake the kids. Watched her sit them down at the kitchen table, their little faces confused, sleepy. Emma was 12, Jack was 9. Old enough to understand death, too young to understand betrayal. Daddy was in an accident, Sarah told them, her voice breaking perfectly. He didn't make it. He's gone. Emma started crying immediately. Jack just stared, processing. My son, my careful, thoughtful boy, trying to logic his way through the impossible. But he's supposed to take me to my soccer game on Saturday, Jack said, as if that fact alone could reverse reality. I know, baby, Sarah whispered, pulling him close. I know. And here's the thing. She looked like she meant it. She looked like a devastated widow. Her tears seemed real. Her trembling hands, her broken voice, her desperate hold on our children. All of it looked authentic. If I hadn't heard that phone call, if I hadn't seen her call someone at 3:30 in the morning, I would have believed her grief was real. Maybe it was. Maybe she loved me and betrayed me simultaneously. People are capable of holding contradictions. I'd learned that in business. Why not in marriage? By noon, the house was filling with people. Neighbors bringing casseroles. Sarah's sister Rachel arriving to help with the kids. My mother, elderly and devastated, being led to our couch by Sarah's gentle hands. My business partner Marcus arriving, his face appropriately grave. I watched Marcus hug Sarah. Watched it last 3 seconds too long. Watched his hand linger on her back, his mouth near her ear, whispering something I couldn't hear through the camera's audio. Sarah's face, I saw something flicker there. Relief? Recognition? Anticipation? They broke apart when Rachel came back into the room. Professional, appropriate, but I'd seen it. That moment of intimate understanding between them. That's when I knew. Marcus wasn't just aware of whatever Sarah was planning. He was part of it. My best friend. My brother in everything but blood. The man who'd stood beside me at my actual wedding 15 years ago. Who'd given a toast about loyalty and friendship and building something beautiful together. He'd been building something all right, just not with me. I spent the afternoon watching Sarah play the widow. She was magnificent, accepting condolences with dignity, crying at appropriate intervals, making phone calls about funeral arrangements. Ironic, considering there was no body to bury, just some stranger's charred remains that would eventually need explaining. But that was future Sarah's problem. Present Sarah was too busy being perfect. At 4 p.m., Marcus stayed behind after the others left. He and Sarah sat at the kitchen table, the same table where she told our children their father was dead 6 hours earlier. They talked in low voices, heads close together. The camera caught fragments. 48 hours, Marcus said. Already arranged. Sarah nodded. Too soon. People will talk. Marcus said. Don't care anymore. Waited long enough. And then, while my children were upstairs supposedly processing their grief, while my mother was in the guest room sedated by her doctor, while the casseroles were still warm on the counter. I watched my best friend kiss my wife. Not a comfort kiss, not a grief kiss, a hungry, familiar kiss that spoke of practice and patience and plans finally coming to fruition. Sarah kissed him back, pressed into him like she was drowning and he was air. This wasn't new. This was ritual. This was them. Day 2 of being dead, hour 36 of surveillance. I'd barely eaten, barely moved from this chair by the window. The hotel room smelled like my own sweat and desperation. My phone, Victor's burner phone, buzzed with alerts from the cameras every time there was movement in the house. I'd become a ghost, haunting my own life through screens. Sarah took the kids to school that morning. Normal routine, she decided. It's what he would have wanted, she told Rachel, who'd stayed overnight. More performance, more lies disguised as devotion. I watched Emma climb into the car with red eyes, clutching a stuffed animal she hadn't touched in years. Jack moved like a robot, mechanical and shut down. My children, casualties of a war they didn't know was being fought. After drop-off, Sarah came home, alone. The house was empty. Rachel had left for work. My mother had gone back to her place to rest. Sarah walked through the room slowly, methodically. Was she looking for something? Checking that her secrets were still secret? Or was this real? A widow walking through memories, processing loss? I couldn't tell anymore. Every action had 2 meanings now. Every emotion could be genuine or rehearsed. Reality had become interpretation, and I was too close, too damaged to interpret clearly. Then she went into our bedroom closet, our large, ridiculous walk-in closet that could house a family of 4. She pushed aside my suits, the expensive ones I'd bought to look successful, to feel powerful, to prove I wasn't that broke kid from the wrong side of town anymore. Behind them, hidden in the far back corner, she pulled out a garment bag. Inside was a wedding dress. Not her wedding dress from our marriage, a new one. Ivory silk, modern cut, elegant. The kind of dress that costs $10,000 minimum. The kind of dress you don't buy overnight. She laid it on the bed carefully, reverently, and just stood there looking at it. My chest felt like it was caving in. The hotel room walls seemed to shrink. I couldn't breathe right, couldn't think right. A wedding dress, hidden in our closet, while I was alive, while our children were sleeping down the hall, while we were supposedly building a life together. She'd been preparing to replace me, literally, practically. She'd bought the dress, chosen the style, imagined herself walking down an aisle towards someone else while I was still breathing, still working, still stupidly, desperately loving her. How long had that dress been hanging there? Weeks? Months? Years? Sarah's phone rang. She answered immediately. "It's done," she said. "The dress fits perfectly. The venue confirmed for tomorrow? Yes, tomorrow. I don't care if it seems fast. We've waited long enough. He's gone. We can finally do this. Tomorrow." My memorial service was scheduled for this afternoon. And tomorrow, less than 48 hours after my supposed death, she was getting married. The efficiency was almost impressive. The cruelty was absolute. She hung up and made another call. "Marcus, it's me. Tomorrow at 3, the Harbor Club. Just immediate family, like we discussed. Your brother can officiate. Yes, he got ordained online last month. Everything's ready. Finally, everything's ready." Last month. They'd been planning this wedding while I was alive, while Marcus and I were closing business deals, while Sarah was sleeping beside me, her body warm against mine, her breathing steady in the darkness. They'd been counting down to my death for at least a month, maybe longer. The question was, were they just waiting for me to die naturally, or were they planning to help the process along? And if I hadn't staged this accident myself, would someone else have arranged one for real? The thought sent ice through my veins. Had I accidentally saved my own life by faking my death? Was that phone call I'd overheard Not much longer now. Just be patient. About waiting for me to die or waiting to kill me? I grabbed my burner phone with shaking hands and called Victor. The accident, I said when he answered. My car. Did you check it? Before we staged the crash. Check it for what? Tampering. Sabotage. Would you even know? Silence. Then, I'll look into it. Why? Because I think my wife and my business partner were planning to kill me, and I think I might have crashed the car before they could. How long does grief last? And how long should it last before suspicion becomes certainty? 3 p.m. My memorial service. I sat in this hotel room with the curtains mostly closed, watching through a crack as people gathered at the church across town. I had cameras there too. Victor was thorough. Small, nearly invisible devices placed the night before by someone on his team. Technology turning my death into a reality show I couldn't stop watching. The church was full. Apparently I was popular. Or maybe people just like drama wrapped in solemnness. Free afternoon entertainment disguised as respect for the dead. I recognized faces, business associates, neighbors, Sarah's friends, Marcus's colleagues. People I'd smiled at, made small talk with, believed were part of my life. Sarah arrived with the kids. She dressed Emma in navy blue, Jack in a small suit that made him look impossibly young. My mother was there, being supported by Rachel. Everyone looked appropriately devastated. Everyone played their parts perfectly. Except Sarah. I had studied her face for 36 hours now through these cameras. I knew her real expressions versus her performed ones. And sitting in that front pew, dabbing her eyes with a tissue while the minister talked about love and loss and the tragedy of life cut short, she looked relieved. Underneath the widow's costume, underneath the trembling hands and bowed head, Sarah looked like someone who's just been released from prison. Marcus gave the eulogy. My best friend stood at that pulpit and talked about brotherhood, about loyalty, about building dreams together. His voice cracked at the right moments. He talked about our first business meeting in that garage, about late nights and impossible goals, and the bond between partners who become family. He was more than a friend, Marcus said, his voice thick with emotion. He was my brother, and I'll carry him with me every day for the rest of my life. The audience murmured sympathy. Sarah reached up from the front pew and squeezed Marcus's hand as he stepped down, a gesture of shared grief, a moment of connection between the widow and the best friend, both supposedly devastated by loss. I watched through my laptop screen and wanted to put my fist through it, wanted to scream, wanted to materialize in that church like the ghost I was supposed to be and tell everyone the truth. But I stayed frozen in my chair, watching my own memorial service like a sick voyeur, gathering evidence of my own erasure. The service ended. People filed past the photo of me, that same headshot from the news, smiling and whole and stupidly unaware. They offered condolences to Sarah, hugged my children, told my mother how sorry they were. The ritual of death, performed flawlessly by people who'd probably forgotten me before they reached their cars. But Sarah and Marcus lingered, waited until the church was nearly empty. Then they stepped into a side room, the pastor's office, empty now. I had no camera there, no audio, just the closed door and my imagination filling in the gaps. They emerged 6 minutes later. Sarah's lipstick was smudged. Marcus was adjusting his tie, both of them wearing that particular combination of guilt and satisfaction that follows stolen intimacy in inappropriate places. They'd used my memorial service as an opportunity to fuck in a church office, while my mother wept in the parking lot, while my children processed the death of their father in the car, while I watched from a hotel room, legally dead, emotionally annihilated, understanding exactly how much I'd never mattered. That evening, I followed them, stayed far enough back that they wouldn't notice, watched Sarah drop the kids at Rachel's house. Just for tonight, they need normalcy, they need their cousins. Another lie wrapped in maternal concern. Watched her drive to the Harbor Club, That expensive venue on the water where we'd attended charity galas and fundraisers, where successful people went to see and be seen. She walked in carrying a garment bag, the wedding dress. She was preparing for tomorrow. 48 hours after my death. 48 hours of pretending to mourn before officially replacing me. Marcus met her there. I sat in the parking lot, watching through windows, seeing them together in the empty ballroom. They were checking details, finalizing plans, preparing for their wedding. Their stolen, secret, supremely fast wedding that would bind them together legally before anyone could question the timing. I'd seen enough. I drove back to the hotel, opened my laptop, and called Victor again. "I need to know something," I said. "My car. Did you find anything?" "Check the wreckage this afternoon," Victor replied. Brake line had been cut. Professional job, meant to look like wear and tear. Would have failed completely on a sharp turn at high speed. My hands went numb. "So they were going to kill me?" "We're already trying. You faked your death the same week they'd set up your murder. Saved yourself by accident." I'd been right. The overheard phone call, not much longer now, hadn't been about waiting for natural death. They'd been waiting for the right moment to stage my accident, to kill me and take everything. The life insurance, the business, the kids, the house, the future. And I'd beaten them to it by dying first, by killing myself before they could. The irony would be funny if it weren't so horrifying. Hour 47, 1 hour until the 48-hour mark. 1 hour until Sarah walks down an aisle that should still be draped in my mourning. I'm in this hotel room that's become my prison, my confessional, my surveillance center. The whiskey bottle is half empty now, or half full, depending on whether you're an optimist. I stopped being an optimist approximately 47 hours ago. The Harbor Club is directly across the street. Perfect sightline. Almost like fate arranged it this way, though I stopped believing in fate somewhere between discovering the wedding dress and learning about the cut brake lines. Fate doesn't exist. Only planning. Only people making choices. Only Sarah choosing Marcus, choosing murder over my life. The guests are arriving. Small wedding, like Sarah said. Intimate. Just immediate family and closest friends. I recognize Marcus's brother, the one who got ordained online specifically for this ceremony. How thoughtful. How premeditated. Sarah's sister Rachel, looking uncomfortable but present. A few other faces I don't know. Probably Marcus's family, his inner circle. My children aren't there. Small mercies. At least Sarah had enough shame or enough strategic thinking not to traumatize them further by bringing them to her wedding 48 hours after their father's death. They're still with Rachel's family, supposedly processing grief, while their mother prepares to bind herself legally to the man who helped plan their father's murder. I need to be clear about something. I'm not innocent in this story. I built an empire by making ruthless choices. I sacrificed time with my family for business deals. I let money change me in ways I didn't notice until I was already changed. I'm not the victim in some simple morality play. I'm complicit in the decay of my marriage. But I didn't deserve murder, and my children didn't deserve this. Sarah arrives at 2:45, 15 minutes before the ceremony. She's wearing the dress, the ivory silk that's been hanging in our closet, waiting. She looks beautiful. That's the horrible truth. She looks radiant and happy and more alive than I've seen her in years. The weight of our marriage, the weight of me, is finally gone, and she's soaring. I press my forehead against the window. The glass is cold. The whiskey is warm. My hands won't stop shaking. I need to make a choice. I need to decide if I'm the ghost at this feast or if I'm staying dead, letting them win, disappearing into whatever life Victor can arrange for people who need to vanish. 3 o'clock. The ceremony begins. Through my laptop, I can see inside. The cameras Victor's team placed yesterday are working perfectly. Small, hidden, expensive. Everything in my life is expensive, including my death, especially my death. Marcus is at the altar. He's wearing the gray suit, The one he wore to my 40th birthday party. The one he wore to my memorial service yesterday. He couldn't even buy a new suit for his wedding to my wife. Some part of me fixates on this detail, this petty observation, because it's easier than feeling the magnitude of the betrayal. Sarah walks down the aisle. No music, no fanfare, just quiet, guilty efficiency. She reaches Marcus. He takes her hands. The brother officiant begins speaking. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today. My phone buzzes. Not the surveillance phone, my old phone. The one that's supposed to be dead with me. The one only a handful of people have the number to. I stare at it, confused. Who would be calling a dead man? I answer without thinking. Hello? Daddy? My blood stops. Emma, my 12-year-old daughter is calling me. Her father, who is dead, who she saw mourned yesterday, who she watched lowered into the ground in a closed casket service this morning. Another detail I'd arranged with Victor, another layer of the lie. Emma, my voice cracks. Sweetie, why? How are you calling me? Your phone was in your desk drawer. I found it this morning. I wanted to hear your voicemail, but then it rang and I answered and she's crying. My daughter is crying, and I'm supposed to be dead, and she's on the phone with a ghost, and I have no idea what to say. Is this real? Emma whispers. Are you alive? Across the street, Sarah is saying her vows, promising to love Marcus in sickness and health, for richer or poorer, until death do them part. The same vows she made to me, the same lies wrapped in ceremony. And I'm holding the phone, hearing my daughter's voice, and everything I thought I knew about my plan, about my revenge, about my righteousness, crumbles. Emma, I say, and my voice is breaking, and I'm crying now too, probably for the first time since this started. Emma, baby, I can explain. Where are you? She's not asking like a child. She's asking like someone who's been lied to too many times and needs facts. Are you hurt? Are you hiding? Did someone try to hurt you? My brilliant, perceptive daughter, too smart for her own good, too smart for my lies. I'm safe, I tell her. I'm okay. But Emma, you can't tell anyone you talk to me. Not yet. Not until what? Not until Mom finishes marrying Uncle Marcus? The world stops. The whiskey glass slips from my hand, crashes to the floor. What did you say? I know about the wedding, Dad. I heard Mom and Aunt Rachel talking last night. I know she's marrying him today. I know you've only been dead for 2 days. She says dead with quotes in her voice, with anger and confusion and hurt. Is that why you left? Because of them? I can't breathe. My 12-year-old daughter has been carrying this knowledge alone while I've been playing detective, gathering evidence, building my case. She's known. She's been processing not just my death, but her mother's betrayal, and I left her alone in it. Emma, listen to me very carefully. Where are you right now? At Aunt Rachel's with Jack. He's playing video games. He doesn't know anything. He still thinks you're dead, and Mom is just sad. Her voice turns bitter. He still believes in things. Stay there. Don't go anywhere. I'm coming to get you. When? I look across the street. Sarah and Marcus are kissing now. The ceremony is over. They're married, legally bound. My wife is someone else's wife. The 48 hours are complete. Soon, I tell Emma. Very soon. But I need you to trust me a little longer. Can you do that? Silence. Then, I don't know if I can trust anyone anymore, Dad. The line goes dead. My daughter, my child, has lost faith in everything. And it's my fault as much as Sarah's. I taught her that people lie, that family betrays, that death can be fake, and love can be performance, and nothing is what it seems. There's a knock at my door. The same knock that's been haunting this narrative, the interruption I've been dreading. I freeze, look through the peephole. It's Victor. Victor enters my hotel room like he owns it. Maybe he does. He arranged everything, the death, the surveillance, the new identity waiting for me if I choose to stay dead. He's not sure which yet. "We have a problem," he says, not bothering with pleasantries. Victor doesn't do pleasantries. It's one of the things I appreciate about him in this world of performed emotions. "Just one?" I gesture at the laptop, showing Sarah and Marcus's reception, at the phone that just connected me to my daughter, at the general catastrophe of my life. "Your daughter called you. I've been monitoring the line." He says this casually, like admitting to federal crimes is just part of the service. "And now she knows you're alive, which means your plan, whatever it was, just became exponentially more complicated." I slump into the chair. The adrenaline from Emma's call is fading, leaving behind exhaustion so profound I can barely hold my head up. She already knew about the wedding. She's been carrying that alone while I've been hiding in this room playing spy games. Victor nods slowly. "Kids always know more than we think." "So what now?" "You've got proof of infidelity, proof of intent to commit fraud. The life insurance alone is worth millions, and she's already filed the claim. You've got proof of a cut brake line, which makes this attempted murder. You could destroy them legally, send them to prison, take everything." "But," I hear the but in his voice.
"But your daughter just talked to a dead man, which means you committed fraud yourself, staged an accident, falsified dental records, filed a false police report. I can keep you out of prison, probably, but it'll be expensive and messy. And it'll all come out. The surveillance, the setup, everything. Your kids will know you tested their mother, that you left them thinking you were dead to prove a point." The weight of it crashes down. I didn't just test Sarah, I tested Emma and Jack too. I let them grieve, let them suffer, let them start processing a trauma that was manufactured. What kind of father does that? What kind of man? "There's another option," Victor continues. "You stay dead. I can make this permanent. New identity, new country, new life. You disappear completely. Your kids get the life insurance money. I can arrange for it to go into a trust, protected from Sarah. They'll be taken care of financially. And they'll never know you chose to leave. That's your solution? Abandon them? I'm giving you options. You wanted the truth. You got it. Now you have to decide what to do with it." My phone buzzes again. Text message from an unknown number. I open it, expecting Emma, but it's not. It's a photo. Sarah and Marcus in the church office during my memorial service. The angle suggests it was taken from inside the office, not from outside. Someone was in there with them. Someone took this photo and is now sending it to me. Below the photo, "You're not the only one who knows the truth. Meet me, Harbor Club parking lot, 20 minutes. Come alone or I go to the police." Who is this? I show Victor the message. He studies it, frowning. Someone else has been watching them. Someone with access to places your cameras weren't. This is either very good news or very bad news. How can this possibly be good news? Because it means you're not alone. Someone else wants to expose them, which means you might have an ally. Or what? Or someone's been playing a longer game than all of you, and you're about to find out you were never the one in control. I look at the time, 18 minutes until the meeting. Across the street, Sarah and Marcus are cutting a cake, their wedding cake, at their wedding that's happening 48 hours after my death. The efficiency of their betrayal is matched only by their audacity. "I have to go," I say, standing. "Bad idea. This could be a trap. Could be they know you're alive, and this is how they plan to finish what they started with the brake line. Then I guess I'm about to find out if I'm as smart as I think I am, or as stupid." Victor sighs. "I'll follow at a distance. If this goes wrong, I can extract you. But after tonight, my involvement ends. This is getting too complicated, even by my standards. You'll need to make a final choice. Stay dead or come back to life. You can't exist in both worlds forever. I grab my jacket, check my appearance in the mirror. I look like hell. Unshaven, exhausted, hollowed out. The face of a dead man walking. Perfect. One more thing, Victor says as I'm leaving. Your daughter, Emma. She's smart enough to be dangerous. If she figures out where you are, if she comes looking, I'll handle it. Will you? Because from where I stand, you haven't handled anything. You've just created bigger messes. He's right. He's absolutely right. I haven't been strategic. I've been emotional. I haven't been gathering evidence for justice. I've been nursing wounds. I haven't been protecting my children. I've been protecting my ego. But maybe it's not too late to change that. Maybe the truth has enough witnesses now that Sarah and Marcus can't bury it. Maybe I can still be a father instead of a ghost. I drive to the Harbor Club. The parking lot is mostly empty. The reception is inside, the guests occupied with champagne and lies. I park in the far corner, away from lights, and wait. A car pulls up beside me. Dark sedan, tinted windows. The driver's door opens. My mother steps out. My elderly, grieving, supposedly devastated mother steps out of the car holding a manila folder and looking nothing like a woman who just buried her son. She looks angry, sharp, focused. "Hello, sweetheart," she says. "I think we need to talk about your wife and about the fact that you're not nearly as dead as everyone thinks you are." My mother. My 72-year-old mother who I thought was sedated with grief, who I watched weep at my memorial service, who I assumed was the one genuine mourner in this entire charade. She's standing in a parking lot, holding evidence, looking at me with an expression that's not surprise or shock, but something closer to vindication. Mom. My voice sounds young, uncertain, like I'm a child, caught doing something wrong. "How did you know you were alive? Please, I raised you. I know when you're lying." She walks closer, and even in the dim parking light, I can see the steel in her eyes. The question is, how long have you known about Sarah and Marcus? 6 weeks. I overheard a phone call. I staged the accident to what? Test her? Gather evidence? Play detective in your own life? She shakes her head. You got your father's pride and none of his wisdom. He would have just left. You had to create a production. The mention of my father, dead 10 years now, taken by cancer, hits unexpectedly. Dad would have. Your father knew about betrayal. I betrayed him. For 3 years, I had an affair with his business partner. Your father found out, confronted me, and I confessed. We went to counseling. We rebuilt our marriage. It wasn't pretty, but it was real. She opens the manila folder. That's the difference between your father and you. He wanted to save the marriage. You wanted to be right. I'm reeling. My parents' marriage, my model for love, for partnership, had survived infidelity. My mother, who I thought was perfect, had cheated. The foundation of every belief I had about loyalty is crumbling. I don't understand. Why are you telling me this now?
Because you need to understand what you're about to lose and what you've already lost. She pulls papers from the folder. I've been investigating Sarah and Marcus for 8 months, since Christmas when I saw them together at your house party. The way they moved around each other, I recognized it. I'd done the same dance with my partner. So I hired someone, not Victor, someone better, more discreet, and I found everything.
She hands me the papers, financial records, text messages, hotel receipts. The affair has been going on for 3 years. 3 years of lies while I worked, while I built, while I stupidly believed we were a team.
There's more, Mom says. The brake line tampering, that was Marcus's idea, but Sarah hesitated. She wanted to wait until after tax season. Something about maximizing the life insurance payout. They argued about it. I have recordings.
You have. I can't process this. Why didn't you tell me?
Because I was trying to protect you. I thought if I gathered enough evidence, I could convince you to leave her quietly. Get a good divorce lawyer, protect the kids, protect your assets. I didn't think you'd fake your own death like some kind of noir film protagonist." Her voice cracks. "Do you have any idea what it did to me thinking you were gone? Even knowing it might be fake, even suspecting you'd do something dramatic, those 2 hours before I confirmed you were alive were the worst of my life."
How did you confirm?
"I called Victor. Yes, I know Victor. How do you think I found him in the first place? I gave you his number 6 weeks ago, tucked in that birthday card I sent. You thought you found him through business channels." She laughs bitterly. "You found him through your mother's detective work."
Everything I thought I'd orchestrated alone, every clever move I thought I'd made, my mother was 3 steps ahead the entire time. The humiliation burns.
"Emma called me," I say quietly. "She found my old phone. She knows I'm alive, and she knows about the wedding." Mom's face softens. "That poor child, carrying all of this alone. You should have trusted her with the truth from the beginning. She's stronger than you think. Smarter, too."
What do I do now?
You stop playing ghost and start being a father. You walk into that reception right now, you reveal yourself, you expose their fraud, and you fight for your children. Not your money, not your pride, your children.
And if they arrest me for fraud?
They won't. I've already spoken to a lawyer. The brake line evidence proves you were in imminent danger. Faking your death was self-preservation, not fraud. It's a gray area, but we can navigate it. She grabs my arm, surprisingly strong. "But you need to do this now, before Sarah and Marcus consummate this marriage, before the legal complications multiply. You need to walk in there and reclaim your life."
I look toward the Harbor Club. Through the windows, I can see the reception. Sarah and Marcus dancing, guests applauding, celebrating a union built on murder and lies.
"There's one more thing you should know," Mom says. "Rachel, Sarah's sister, she's been helping them. She knew about the affair. She helped plan the wedding. She's been keeping your children away deliberately, not to protect them from grief, but to keep them from accidentally revealing the truth. Emma asking questions, Emma being too perceptive, that's why Rachel kept them home from the wedding."
Another betrayal. Another person I'd trusted revealed as complicit. How many people knew? How many were watching our family disintegrate and saying nothing?
"Come on," Mom says, walking toward the Harbor Club entrance. "Your children need their father. Your wife needs to face consequences. And you need to stop being dead. It doesn't suit you."
I follow her. My mother leading the way. My mother who'd been conducting her own investigation while I thought I was the clever one. My mother who'd survived her own betrayal and built something real afterward. Maybe this story isn't about revenge. Maybe it's about what you rebuild after everything burns down. Maybe it's about choosing your children over your pride. Maybe it's about walking back into your life even when you don't recognize it anymore. The Harbor Club doors are ahead. My mother pushes them open.
"Ready?" she asks.
I'm not. I'll never be ready for this. But I follow her anyway. Because sometimes courage isn't feeling ready. It's moving forward despite the fear, despite the humiliation, despite everything. The music stops when we enter. Every head turns. Sarah sees me first. Her face goes white. Marcus drops his champagne glass. The sound of shattering crystal fills the silence. "Hello, everyone. Sorry I'm late to my wife's wedding. Traffic was hell." The reception freezes like a photograph. Everyone suspended in shock. Champagne glasses halfway to lips, conversations abandoned mid-sentence. Sarah's face cycles through emotions so quickly I can't track them. Shock, terror, confusion, anger, calculation. Marcus just stares, his expression completely blank, like his brain can't process what his eyes are seeing. Sarah's voice is barely a whisper. "You're supposed to be." "Dead?" I finish for her. "Yeah, about that. Turns out I'm harder to kill than you thought, especially when you telegraph your plans by hiding wedding dresses in closets and cutting brake lines."
I walk further into the room. My mother stays by my side, a silent pillar of strength. Should we tell everyone what we're really celebrating here? A wedding, yes, but also a successful murder plot. Except the murder part didn't quite work out. Marcus finds his voice. You faked your death? You let your children think? Don't, I cut him off, my voice hard. Don't you dare talk about my children. Not when you were planning to become their stepfather by killing their actual father. Not when you've been sleeping with their mother for 3 years while pretending to be my brother. Murmurs ripple through the guests. Rachel, Sarah's sister, the complicit aunt, stands abruptly. This is insane. You're insane. Sarah, don't listen to him. He's clearly having some kind of breakdown. Is that the story we're going with? My mother steps forward, pulling papers from her purse. Because I have bank records showing payments to a mechanic who specializes in making accidents look accidental. I have text messages discussing life insurance payouts and timing. I have hotel receipts spanning 3 years. And I have testimony from the mechanic who cut my son's brake line, who, by the way, was very willing to cooperate with authorities once I explained the alternative. The room erupts, guests talking over each other, chairs scraping, people backing away from Sarah and Marcus like betrayal might be contagious. Sarah's face has gone from white to red. She's looking at me with pure hatred now, all pretense of the grieving widow dissolved. You bastard, she hisses. You selfish, paranoid bastard. You put us all through this, your children, your mother, because what? You wanted to play detective? You wanted to prove you were smarter than everyone? I wanted the truth, I say quietly, and I got it. The truth is, you stopped loving me years ago. The truth is, you and Marcus decided murder was easier than divorce. The truth is, you were willing to let our children grow up without a father so you could have money and freedom and each other. The truth, Sarah says, her voice shaking, is that you were never home. You were never present. You built your empire and forgot you had a family. You treated me like an accessory, something pretty to display at business functions. You treated our children like obligations. You want to paint me as a villain? Look at yourself. You were gone long before you died. The accusation lands like a physical blow because it's partially true. I wasn't present. I did prioritize business. I did let money change me, change us. But there's a distance between neglect and murder. There's a difference between failing at marriage and plotting to kill your spouse. You're right, I say, and the admission surprises everyone, including myself. I failed you. I failed our marriage. I got lost in building something and forgot to maintain what mattered. And if you'd asked for a divorce, if you'd said you were unhappy, if you'd given me one chance to fix it, I would have tried. I would have chosen you and the kids over every dollar, every deal, every success. But you didn't ask. You didn't try. You just decided I was worth more dead than alive. Sarah has no response to that. She just stands there in her ivory wedding dress, exposed, caught, undone. Marcus finally speaks. What happens now? You call the police? We all go to prison? Your kids lose both parents? No, my mother interjects. Here's what happens now. Sarah and Marcus, you're going to annul this sham marriage immediately. Sarah, you're going to sign over full custody of Emma and Jack. You'll have supervised visitation, if the kids want it, which I doubt. You'll withdraw the life insurance claim. You'll agree to a divorce settlement that leaves you with enough to live on, but not enough to feel like you won. And Marcus, you're going to sign over your half of the business for exactly $1. You're going to walk away from everything you tried to steal. And if we refuse, Marcus asks, then my son presses charges for attempted murder, and you both spend the next 20 years in prison. Your choice, prison or poverty. Choose quickly. I watch them calculate, watch the greed and the fear battle in their eyes. Finally, Sarah nods. Fine, we'll sign whatever you want. Just make this stop. But I'm not looking at them anymore. I'm looking at the doorway where Emma is standing, my 12-year-old daughter, who must have figured out where I was, who must have convinced Rachel's family to bring her here. She's wearing jeans and a sweatshirt, so out of place among the formal wedding guests. Our eyes meet across the room. She doesn't smile, doesn't run to me, just looks at me with an expression that's far too old for her face. An expression that says she's seen too much, knows too much, has been forced to grow up too fast. I walk to her slowly, kneel down so we're eye level. Emma, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Are you really alive? She asks. Or am I going to wake up and you'll still be gone? I'm really alive. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. You left, she says, and her voice breaks. You let us think you were dead. You let Jack cry himself to sleep. You let me try to be strong for everyone when I was breaking inside. You left, Dad. I know, and it was wrong. I thought I was protecting you, but I was just being selfish. I was so focused on proving Mom betrayed me that I didn't think about what I was doing to you. Can you forgive me? She thinks about it, really thinks about it, which is more than I deserve. I don't know yet, she finally says, but I'm glad you're not dead, even if you were a jerk about proving it. I pull her into a hug. She's stiff at first, resistant, but then she wraps her arms around me and holds on tight. My daughter, still mine, still willing to try, even after everything. Where's Jack? I ask. With Aunt Rachel's kids. He doesn't know yet. I wanted to see you first. Make sure you were real. I'm real. I'm here. And I'm never leaving again. I promise.
Don't promise things you can't keep, Emma says, pulling back. Just be here. That's enough. Smart kid. Smarter than me. I stand and face the room. Face all these people who came to celebrate a lie, who witnessed my resurrection, who now know the truth about Sarah and Marcus and the family that almost fractured completely. I'm going home, I announce, with my kids, with my mother. And tomorrow, we're starting over. No more lies, no more ghosts, just us trying to be a real family again. Sarah starts to protest, but my mother silences her with one look. The look that says everything is already decided. Everything is already lost, and resistance is pointless. I take Emma's hand. We walk out of the Harbor Club together, leaving the broken wedding behind, leaving Sarah and Marcus and their shattered plans, leaving the guests to gossip and speculate and tell this story for years. Outside, the night air feels clean. The stars are visible despite the city lights. Emma squeezes my hand. Dad, she says. Yeah? Next time you want to prove Mom's lying, just hire a divorce lawyer like normal people. I laugh. Actually laugh. For the first time in weeks, maybe months, I laugh. Deal. The house is smaller now. We sold the mansion. Too many memories. Too many rooms filled with ghosts. This place is modest. 3 bedrooms, a backyard where Jack plays soccer, a kitchen where we eat dinner together every night. Mandatory. No phones, no distractions. Just us, talking, rebuilding what was broken. Emma is in therapy. So is Jack. So am I. We're working through the trauma of my death, of the divorce, of learning that people you love can betray you in spectacular ways. It's slow work, painful work, but it's work worth doing. Sarah lives across town. She has supervised visits once a week, which the kids sometimes attend. Usually Emma goes alone. She says she wants to understand her mother, wants to hear her side. Jack's still too angry. I don't push him. Everyone processes pain differently. Marcus left the state, took his buyout money and disappeared. I hear he's starting over somewhere out west. I don't care. He's irrelevant now. Just a footnote in a story I'm trying to rewrite. My mother lives with us. The woman who saved me, who was always 3 steps ahead, who knew how to be ruthless and loving simultaneously. She makes breakfast every morning, helps with homework, tells the kids stories about their grandfather, about how love can survive almost anything if both people choose to fight for it. I'm different now, smaller somehow, humbler. I work less, spend more time at home. The business survived the scandal, but I hired a CEO to run daily operations. I'm more investor than operator now, more father than entrepreneur. Tonight, after the kids go to bed, I sit on the back porch with my mother and a cup of coffee. "You did good," she says. "Coming back, choosing them." I almost didn't, I admit. I almost stayed dead, started over somewhere new. Victor offered me a whole new life, but you didn't. Because despite your flaws, despite your pride, you're your father's son, and he always chose family. We sit in comfortable silence, watching fireflies in the yard. Jack's soccer ball sits in the grass. Emma's bike leans against the fence. Evidence of life, of normalcy, of a family that's broken but rebuilding. My phone buzzes. Text from Emma from upstairs. "Thanks for being here. For real this time." I text back. "Always, I promise, and this time I'll keep it." Sometimes we have to die to understand what living really means. Sometimes we have to lose everything to recognize what actually matters. Sometimes the truth destroys us, but what grows from those ruins can be stronger than what existed before. I'm not the same man who faked his death. I'm someone smaller, quieter, more present. Someone who understands that success measured in dollars is meaningless if you're bankrupt in love. Someone who knows that the greatest empire you can build is a family that chooses each other every day, despite the scars. If this story has taught you anything, I hope it's this. Don't wait for death, real or staged, to evaluate your life. Don't sacrifice presence for success. Don't let pride replace connection. And if you're in a relationship that feels dead, don't fake a death to prove it. Just have the courage to walk away while you're still alive. My name is, well, my name doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm here. I'm present. I'm trying. And maybe that's all any of us can do. Show up, keep trying, and hope that's enough. If this story resonated with you, if you've experienced betrayal or loss, or the long road back to trusting again, leave a comment. Share your story. You're not alone in this. None of us are. And if you want to follow the rest of my journey, the messy, complicated work of rebuilding a family, subscribe. Hit that notification bell, because this story isn't over. Healing takes longer than 48 hours. It takes showing up every day, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. And remember, you're worth more alive than you could ever be dead. Broken.